Hello, welcome to another video. First off, I want to apologise if you can hear Jake giggling in the background. He's throwing a tennis ball around the living room with the dog. But it sounds like they're having fun, so that's fine. But I will apologise if you can hear him giggling away as he's yelling at the dog repeatedly. Get your ball! Get your ball! Go and get the ball! It's quite funny. Second thing, have you ever known someone to be so late to the bandwagon as I? Because today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I was tagged way back, like when this was a thing, by Gavin. Mid-year has gone, but I'm going to do it now. So thank you, Gavin, for tagging me. I will link his video down below. Let's just crack on with it, shall we? I have not the actual questions, but just like bullet pointed what the general gist of the question is written down here. So yeah, how many are there? 13 questions. Question number 1 is, what is the best book you've read so far in 2019? I don't have the best book I've read so far on me because I've lent it out because it's amazing, and I have a thing with my mum where if a book is amazing I force her to read it, so it's with her. But it is Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel. I obviously have Waking Gods here, which is the sequel, which I haven't read, but Sleeping Giants, the first book in the Themis Files, was phenomenal. I absolutely adored it. You've probably heard about it. It's about a girl who falls into a hole when she got a new bike for her birthday or something. She's cycling through the forest, falls into a hole and lands in a giant metal hand. Years pass, and later you are following the research team who are investigating what this hand is, where it's come from, where the rest of the body is, and what is going on. But it's told in interview style with a completely mysterious interviewer who you never really know who he is, what his motives are, like who is he working for, what is it all about to him, and it's so intriguing. I read it in under 24 hours, which is always good, and I cannot wait to read the sequel and Only Human, the last book. I haven't got to them yet, but I don't know why, because I'm desperate to inhale them, because that first book was phenomenal. So solidly a 5-star read. I've read a lot of 5-star books so far this year, compared to last year where I only had 8. This year so far, I've had a lot. I've really either been lucky or selective. I know what I like, so I've been a bit more selective with what I'm reading, perhaps, or I have just been really lucky, I don't know. One that stands out to me as the best book I've read this year is definitely Sleeping Giants, so there you go. If you have not read that book, I highly recommend that you do. Question number 2 is the best sequel that you have read so far in 2019, and again this is one that had a pretty solid answer in my mind, and that is Blood Witch by Susan Dennard. This year I have fallen in love with The Witchlands so thoroughly and completely, and this is the 3rd book in that series, and I absolutely adored it. I have raved about this since I read it. You've probably heard me talk about it many, many times. I frickin' love it. So The Witchlands follows Safi and Iseult, 2 witches. One is a truth witch, one is a thread witch. And they're hiding Safi, who is the truth witch's magic, because in an empire that is on the brink of war, her power could be used by the wrong hands politically, because she can tell the truth, not tell the truth, but she can tell when someone is telling the truth or someone is telling a lie, and politically that would be something to take advantage of. So she's kind of in hiding, on the run, and it follows from there, but they are also complete troublemakers, and trouble follows them just wherever they go. I love the friendship, the characters, the plot, the politics, the magic, and it just gets better. The first one was really good, the second one really good, this one really freaking good, and I cannot wait for the next one. I don't know what it's called or which one of the band of people it's following, but I'm so into it. where this left off, oh my god. Oh, right, I won't rave too much more, but absolutely loved this. Like the development we've seen, like the relationship development, the character development, just the plot twists and like how far certain people have come at this point. Love it. Okay, I'll stop now. The next one is a new release that you haven't read yet but want to. So many. One that does stand out to me though is Queenslayer by Sebastien de Castell. I need to read this. This is the 5th book in the Spellslinger, Shadowblack, Charmcaster, Soulbinder series. You know, the ones that all look like this and are absolutely freaking beautiful. I love it. Basically, the series follows Kellen, who in the first book is his 16th birthday. He's about to undertake his Mage's trials. Slight problem though, he's lost all of his magic. Farius Parfait comes in and has a couple of tricks up her sleeve to potentially help him out, and the shit hits the fan, disaster ensues, everything goes tits up. Where do we go from here? Basically is how this series goes. Sebastien de Castell has this year, I think, really cemented himself as one of my favourite authors. I love his writing style. It's so distinguishably him and I just really like it. I don't think I've ever meshed with a writing style quite so much. Like a story style, a plot style, yeah, but an actual writing style and the way like he writes dialogue and just the like wits and sarcasm and humour about the way that he puts things together. I'm just so into it. But I have not read the 5th book yet. I will be doing so soon though, because this is high on my priority list. And the last one in the series actually comes out later this year. I think it's been pushed back a couple of months. I don't know the exact release date, but it's late this year and I'm just so excited. Question 4 is, what is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? Other than the last book in the Spellslinger series that I was just talking about, I don't actually know what that's called. Other than that, because I want to try and mention different books, it would be the sequel to Roar by Cora Carmack, which is Rage. It was supposed to come out last year, but I believe Cora Carmack fell ill last year, so it was pushed back a year and is coming out this month. Like, very soon. Like, I'm not sure of the exact date. Depending on when I put this video up, it could be out. I don't know. But very soon. I read this when it first came out. We got it in, I believe it was in a Fairy Loot box. And I initially was just like, that looks a bit naff. And then I read it and fell in love with it. I mean, it was only 4 stars, but it's been a 4-star book that's kind of stuck with me. And I've been eager to know what happens next. Something about this just meshed with me really well. And I'm not too sure what it was, because this is pretty romancy. Cora Carmack is a new adult romance writer predominantly, like this is her first venture into fantasy, but I really, really liked it. Loved the magic, loved the whole style of the world and the world building and our main character and the like development and growth that she goes through and the motives of like the villain character in here. Something really got me with this and I am really looking forward to Rage, which is coming out very soon, as I say. Question number 5 is the biggest disappointment of the year so far, and I kind of just want to brush over this because it's gonna be an unpopular opinion and I am sorry. I hate saying this because I love this author and her other series is like one of my favourites of all time, but Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. I'm sorry, please don't come at me with like pitchforks and stuff. This was just too soppy for me, too sappy, too eye-rolly. I love Strange the Dreamer, but the way the romance was handled in this just had me kind of feeling a bit sick. For the majority of this book, I was bored. I put it down, picked it up, put it down, picked it up, put it down for like a couple of months, picked it up again and thought, oh fuck it, I just need to finish it. And then like the last, I don't know how long it was, maybe last like 100 pages or something, were much better because the action picked up and we were focusing a lot less on the sappy, sickly romance that I didn't like. I can't remember what I rated this. Did I give it a 3-star or a 4-star? I think I gave it a 4-star in the end, which you're probably thinking, well, that's not bad. It's not bad, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it was disappointing to me. Yes, I did give it 4 stars. I think when I finished it, I said, like, the plot and stuff was more of a 3-star, but the writing style of Laini Taylor is a 5-star. Like, no matter what she writes, it is beautifully written. I just didn't like the story in this one so much. So yeah, evened out at about a 4-star. Wasn't the worst book ever. I don't hate it. I was just disappointed because I expected something a little more from it and didn't get that. On the flip side of that, let's go for the most surprising read of the year so far. And without a shadow of a doubt, the book that I have been surprised by the most is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. Now this I gave 3 stars, so a lower rating than the most disappointing for the most surprising. But hear me out, I expected to hate this because so many people have slated it all over the internet and said that it's trash. So I thought it's gonna be trash. And I didn't hate it. 3 stars, it was on the good side of average in my opinion. I appreciate that it is very tropey, but you have to consider to a certain extent the time it was written. Like, it's very 2012 teen fantasy. Was that when it was written? Or published? 2012, yeah, it was 2012 teen fantasy. And it feels like a 2012 teen fantasy. It's what it was. But I didn't hate it. Alina was a bit whiny and annoying. Mal, definitely my least favourite character, but there were parts of this that I liked. I liked the romance, I liked the politics. It just wasn't as trash as I thought it would be because that's what everyone said. It's supposed to be very Russian inspired, but there is very little accuracy in that, so I think if you know anything about Russian culture, then you might think, why? Because it's just not. But it surprised me by how much I didn't absolutely hate it. Yeah, I mean, the second book I didn't like quite so much. That was a bit drab, but this surprised me in the best way possible. Although it's not an absolute work of art, not the best book ever, and you should all rush out to read it, although most people at this point already have. It just blew me away by how average it was when I was expecting it to be. Absolute garbage. Question 7 is your favourite new author, be that a debut author or a new to you author. So I scrolled through my Goodreads so far for this year and realised that I read Truthwitch early this year, so Susan Dennard absolutely is the winner here. She takes the cake. Another author that, as I've already mentioned, cemented themselves as one of my favourites is Sebastian de Castell, but I started reading his stuff a couple of years ago, so I can't count that. But Susan Dennard, I've started reading this year and has a solid place in my heart now, so good job there. I've already told you what this series is about and how much I love it, so I won't repeat myself, but Susan Dennard takes the cake. Whilst it's out, I know I said I was going to try and pick different books for these questions, but number 8 is the newest fictional crush, and Adrian from this takes the cake there as well. And whilst we're here, number 9, newest favourite character, Azil. I love Azil so much. She's so cool. Love her. And I won't go any further into that, but there you go. Question number 10 is name a book that's made you cry so far this year. I don't normally cry at books very much, so this is very surprising, and this only actually happened yesterday and is the only book to have made me cry so far this year. Are you ready for the surprise here? Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo, the last book in the Grisha trilogy. So I said that the first book was averagely okay, second book not so much. This one I liked a whole lot more. I gave it 4 stars, pretty good, and it was page 303. I remember like mentally noting the page that made me cry because it doesn't happen. Yeah, just revisiting this, it happened yesterday. Looking back on it, it's like really sickly, but At the time, it got me. And I teared up just a little bit. It did then happen again later on, like right by the end. I can't remember exactly what happened right by the end for it to happen, but teared up twice with this one. And I so rarely cry at books, so something happened in here that was clearly pulling at my heartstrings. I'm not proud of this at all, but it happened. And we will move on. Question number 11 is a book that has made you happy so far this year, and I'm gonna say All the Wandering Light by Heather Fawcett. This was the first book I read for the Polathon early this year, which is a Polar Fantasy readathon that I started doing early this year and plan to make a yearly thing because Polar Fantasy is my jam. So one, this is special to me for that reason, like the first book I read for my own Polar Fantasy readathon, loved it. 2, it's Polar Fantasy and I freaking love Polar Fantasy, just makes me happy anyway. 3, it was my most anticipated release of early this year and I loved it so much. It's the sequel to Even the Darkest Stars by Heather Fawcett. And I had been eagerly awaiting this one. It picked up exactly where that one left off, answered all of those questions, gave me all of the feels, love it. So Even the Darkest Stars follows Kamzin, who wants to be a royal explorer for the Emperor. She wants to climb the tallest mountains and go on all these wild adventures. And after a certain series of events, it comes to be that she has this opportunity to go on this exploration with the royal explorer to find something that the Emperor is after. However, not everything is quite as it seems. It ended up being a lot more fantastical than I thought it would be. I thought it would be very almost factual in like the exploration of a mountain, just reality of that. But there are dragons, there are ghosts, there are witches, shapeshifters, all sorts of weird shit going on up this mountain, and I fell in love with the first one, and the second one did not disappoint me at all. So this book made me very happy for very many reasons, and now I'm thinking about the Polathon and I'm really excited to do that again in the winter. Oh, love it. Question number 12 is, what is the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received? And I have to say Stormtide by Den Patrick. This was a gift from Gavin. Thank you, Gavin. I say this all the time because you're just so generous and give everyone presents. Like, dude, you're the best. But this cover is beautiful. Let me just grab the first one. The first one is this, which was also one of the most beautiful books ever. But they just match so beautifully. And I love the fact that it's Wales, like, love it. Like, everyone knows I have a weakness for birds on cover, it's just a thing that I have. And apparently Wales now do a similar thing because this is beautiful. I'm so excited to read these. Should be reading this one soon, but yeah, I'm blown away by the beauty of the covers of these and like spines. It's just really pretty, okay? Really pretty. And then question 13, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And the answer to that is a lot. I'm doing fairly well with my reading goal, so not putting too much pressure on the quantity just yet, but there are a few things that I do need to read, one of them being Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, because me and Becca are buddy reading the Grishaverse and they are the next two that we need to get to, and then King of Scars, but I don't actually own that yet, so we'll hold off on putting that on this list just yet, but definitely Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I need to read Vengeful by Victoria Schwab at some point, because, like, it just needs to happen. I need to read that. The Wicked King by Holly Black is another one that I should probably get to this year, especially because Queen of Nothing comes out late this year, I believe, so need to get to that one. And honestly, just a whole lot of others, but they're the ones that I think I would say I'm going to prioritise, but we know I'm not. They're just the ones that jump out at me at ones that I'm needing to read that aren't on like immediate TBRs, because I have obviously set out my Newts TBR, so we all know what's on that at this point. Oh, Knight's Shadow. Yes, Sebastian de Castell, come on. Knight's Shadow, Saint's Blood and Tyrant's Throne. I would love to get those read this year. The reality of it is probably that I won't. I might get Knight's Shadow and potentially Saint's Blood done. I could try and push for all three. I would like to, but you know, they're chunkier books. we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that is that. That's all of the questions, 13 of them. I hope this has been enlightening to you. Sorry that it's so late. I feel like I've been chatting for a really long time at this point, so sorry about that as well. I am not going to tag anyone because I'm late, so there's no point. Mid-year has gone, so apologies. But otherwise, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, give us a thumbs up, chat to me down below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!